Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and an unusual video for us today. We've been very lucky to receive some early footage of the new and update to Flaming Espinas. So a huge thank you to Capcom and of course Jono for the opportunity, which lets us see what's in store for this fight. As it turns out, it's surprisingly deadly. This is a monster that has the strength to one-shot you straight to the car. It's also a big deal for Monster Hunter in general. This is a subspecies of a frontier monster and the further hope of other frontier monsters returning to mainline Monster Hunter. So with all that said though, let's take a look. Thanks to Capcom, we have a nice variety of clips and footage to look at, from solo to duo to full 4-man player. One thing you may note is that there is a 15-minute timer on this quest in this footage, and also the players are using certain equipment loadouts. This is due to the event build they're playing on for this footage. We've been told that the full version will of course have normal quest length, and will obviously be able to use their own equipment. As I mentioned in the introduction though, Espinas and this subspecies is a big step for the series, to bring frontier monsters into the mainline series and make them canon at that. In this case, it's the canonized and ported to current gen flaming version of Espinas, complete with new moves and that up-to-date polish, which is very nice to see in Rise. If we take a look at the original version of the subspecies, this brown and red type glows with orange veins when enraged. Conceptually, the flaming version has a much more dangerous fire ability than the regular version, as you'd expect, capable of larger and more powerful bursts of fire, as well as being able to charge it up and send out these massive fireballs blowing up in this huge area. Those massive explosions look really hard to avoid. It looks like Superman jumps are nearly required or mandatory. However, in current gen, you might be able to get away with a wire bug or something. Of course, that multi-effect fire is still there, but it worked a bit differently. Instead of having paralysis, it had poison, fire, and defense down. In terms of power level, this is a monster that could face off against elder dragons and also other fire types as well, like Teostra, a very strong subspecies. We can see in old footage and images that a main stage for the Flaming Espinas was indeed the Forlorn arena, which is a perfect place to fight special monsters like this in current Rise. But it's all good to look back at the old version. What about the current? How do things compare? For the footage today, we are back in the Forlorn arena, which is a perfect staging ground, but I do think, much like the original monster, we'll see it in other places eventually. It does keep that muted and brown colouring visually, a bit darker and more subtle than the greens of regular Espinas, but during Enrage or many animations where it roars, you'll see that colour pop in that familiar orange glow. Baseline, I see a familiar Espinas with some added dangers like extra combos. We still have, say, that sudden triple charge or the shoulder charges, but follow-ups like sudden fire shots after these. There's the head slam swipe turning into a double, the tail spins and slams, the jump slam having a double slam follow-up. It's these many little details that's going to make the basic fighting a bit more intense, but of course, as expected, it's going to be the fire that's the main truly deadly thing with this flaming version. The explosion radius of these fire shots are big, and whether it's a single shot or triple shot, the fire will then arc out in a furious line after its initial impact. That looks very tough to deal with in this small area. But speaking of fire, it's the charged up fire that's super exciting as well as scary. Much like the original Fire Nova, you can see the wind up clearly before, say, a lift off and a massive burst of fire. That shot is a huge area again, but now looks visually incredible with that purple cloud that comes out after the explosion. But it's also extremely deadly, obviously. As you can see in many clips and footage, this is just a one shot to many hunters. The thing is, it has more than just one version of that supernova charge up. It has three. There's that one that's from ground to air, but there's also a straight up ground charge blast, or as Josh let me know, the entirely new, particularly scary and kind of hilarious moving Fire Nova, which is brutal but also kind of cute. He's charging up his blast, but also he's doing these three little steps first. I don't know, shows he means business. But whether it's still or moving, you're going to need to be ready at the drop of the hat to Superman dive your way out of there to give that exploding radius the respect it deserves, or iframe it if you have to. From just watching the fight, you can see that this is going to be one that you need to pay close attention to the whole way. It's got long range fire shots that are going to be really deadly if they do hit you, but the supernova's gonna one-shot you if you're caught by it. It makes me think of playing Switch Axe and doing a zero-sum discharge while I'm attached and regretting it. Now, outside of just watching the gameplay and talking about it, we did get some extra details from Capcom about how this version of Flaming Espinas works. They did confirm to us that, like the original version, the fireballs cause fire blight, poison, but instead of paralysis, it is indeed defense down. It's interesting, paralysis can be a death sentence if you're hit by it, but you can get lucky with it. Maybe a palico or something saves you, maybe it picks another target while you're stunned. But if you get hit by defense down, now you just have defense down. That's a huge problem while you're affected. That could lead to a cart to even basic attacks. So your safe health to take a hit might not be so safe after that. Most importantly though, the fact is the weak zones change. If it's enraged, you want to target different spots than if it's still heating up, which is very interesting and very good to know going in. Now, much like other monsters, I would imagine the glowing spots are going to be the areas you want to target, but I will test that myself and find out more, I'm sure. It looks to be a very resistant monster to the places that aren't weak zones, so like always, it's going to be well worth targeting them. Outside of gameplay details, there's a few things we've learned. For example, surprisingly, much like the Update 1 monsters, Flaming Espinas will only require Master Rank 10 to unlock the hunt and get him fighting. Compared to the new Risen Chameleos that needs Master Rank 110, it's a major gap. I imagine the high rank for the Risen monster implies how dangerous that monster is going to be, but here we have Flaming Espinas, who can one-shot you with various moves and looks very dangerous in general, but you only need Master Rank 10. To me, that's confusing and it's definitely unexpected. But hey, at least we get to fight him sooner if you're lower Master Rank. In the Tokyo Game Show, we also saw the armor set, which looks incredible. I usually wear the regular Espinas chest and legs for my own layered armor in the various clips you see me playing, so I might just swap to it, but I'd love a blue version, please. We're also not sure exactly what skills to expect on this new version of the set, but the original had two skills that are familiar in current Monster Hunter: Adrenaline and Reckless Abandon. Adrenaline was much like Heroics, you get extra defense and attack when low health, while Reckless Abandon, well, that increased your affinity. So I imagine we're going to see skills similar to these, but hopefully we do see something new to the series with those mechanics in mind. For now though, that is indeed my early look at Flaming Espinas. A quick look at the original compared to this new, fantastic looking current, as well as the important little details and new features of our up-to-date version. I'm very pleased with the VFX for the current fight compared to the original. It's so standout that charging up with the Nova, you can obviously feel something big is about to happen. And as scary as the moving version will be, I still think it looks so funny. Maybe I won't think it's funny when it's happening in game. But what do you guys think of the fight? Is this an exciting new monster to fight? Are you happy with the more current version? But before we go, a huge thank you to Capcom for providing us with this footage, an opportunity again. We're very lucky to be included. You guys can look forward to lots of more Update 2 content coming your way at release. But for now, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.